Have you ever heard that term, being in the state of flow? I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, it's that rare but exhilarating feeling where everything just seems to click. When you feel awake or on fire, it's where your thoughts seem to move like a river, and they just move effortlessly and magically. Imagine when you sit down to speak, or you sit down to write, and all of your ideas and all of your thoughts, they just seem to flow right out of you without any effort. You almost feel like you're weightless, or like your mind and your brain, your body, your soul is just firing on all cylinders in this amazing, cohesive instrument or symphony. And you just feel ready to tackle anything that comes your way. When I think about the state of flow, I think of that movie Limitless. I think of that dude and the way that in that movie they portray how that pill made that guy feel limitless. And you just feel like a sponge. You feel like you can absorb anything in that state of flow. Welcome back to another episode of Sweat Talk. My name is Chad. When you're in that state of flow, do you actually, or have you ever thought about what's really going on? Because that feeling, it's not just some accident, and it's not just luck. It's actually what psychologists call a flow state. It's a powerful mental state where you're just fully immersed and energized. You're focused and you're able to be deeply engaged. You lose track of time and your mind just operates at its peak. And many of us, we will spend our lives struggling and trying to find that state. But we're so weighted down anymore and distracted by things that don't matter, that steal our attention. All of that mental clutter and those toxic habits, that we lose that mental state of flow that we once had when we were children. When we were kids, we used to effortlessly be able to tap into this state of flow. And odds are we didn't even realize it. But our minds were clear and our energy was abundant, and we could absorb anything that we found interesting. But as adults, we've just clouded our minds with constant negativity and distractions from sedentary lives, mindless scrolling, and the toxins and the junk food that we consume. And we don't realize that when our body feels weighted down, our minds are weighted down. Because when our bodies are overweight, our minds are overweight, and we end up carrying around mental inflammation, that fog and exhaustion that keeps us from reaching our full potential. We've all been taught that aging naturally slows us down and slows down our minds in the way that we think. As we age, it makes us less capable. But in my opinion, that's just a limiting belief. Because intelligence, it's not about being able to memorize something. It's not about being able to get straight A's or holding some prestigious degree. It's not about going to college and how many credentials you have. But at one point, every single one of us has been in a state of flow. Some of us, it's just been so long and over such a slow period of time that we don't realize it. Remember the last time you got so engrossed in something, like a hobby or a sport, that you just completely lost yourself in it. And in those moments, you were in that element. You were in that state of flow. Society likes to tell us that intelligence is based off of a formal education, by learning traditional education topics or subjects, earning degrees and landing those high status jobs. But intelligence it's actually about far more than just academic success. Some people have a natural gift at learning traditional academics. Others have a natural gift to be able to learn with hands-on type training. The trades, being a mechanic, building engines, doing structural design, even creating art. We all have different strengths. And when you find that state of flow, you tap into those strengths. You don't have to be some genius in math, science, or English in order to be able to tap into that state of flow and find that strength. Think about it this way. Next time you feel inadequate because you lack some sort of traditional knowledge or a degree, remember that there are people out there that need your expertise. And no matter what your area of expertise is. The world needs it. The world needs your expertise. The world needs your talents, your mind, and your skills. And when we learn how to value our unique contributions, we're able to free ourselves from judgments, from our own judgments, and open ourselves up to that peak mental state. How do you actually get into a state of flow? The answer is actually quite simple. But just because that answer is simple does not mean that it's easy. Because getting in a state of flow, it can require both mental and physical preparation. One of the best ways to prime yourself is meditation. Another way is through physical activity, or both. Because meditation helps quiet the mind and slow down your thinking. It'll help you eliminate any of those distractions, while the physical exercise will unleash and unload those endorphins and energize your mood and elevate your mind. And if you're able to do both of those together, they can create an almost perfect condition for your mind to feel clear and focused. Hello. Hello. When you exercise and those endorphins start flowing, it's like priming the pump and getting that engine started. Because when those endorphins are released, it makes those mental juices just start to flow. And problems that once felt overwhelming, they can become manageable. Hell, they might even be able to become exciting. And that physical exercise, it helps bridge that gap with the mental aspect of it. And it will help bring mental clarity and focus. When you are able to bring physical exercise and meditation together as one, those moments of stillness, you're able to build a rhythm that allows your mind to flow with purpose and lack of distractions. The reason why meditation is so effective is because flow really is about being present. It's about being fully here and fully engaged in the moment. Because when you're in a state of flow, you're not worrying about the past, you're not worrying about the future. You are living and in it right now. You're not thinking about what went wrong yesterday. You're not thinking about what could go wrong tomorrow. You're completely immersed in the task that you're in right now, and you're feeling capable and aware. And that presence it's a skill that you can learn. It's a skill you can develop so that you can enter it more naturally and frequently without the struggle in the beginning. As our lives are filled with distractions that pull us away from current or from the presence and flow. It comes in all forms. Notifications on your phone, the headlines, the news feeds, these things are constantly distracting you, and they're preventing you from realizing that flow. Because each one of those distractions, it pulls us further away from that mental clarity, the mental clarity that we need in order to access our higher abilities or our higher potential. To reach that flow state, start by reducing your mental clutter. Turn off the notifications on your phone. If you can't muster up the courage to turn those notifications off for good, set a time that you can, or set a time and dedicate that time to that purpose every day. And that will allow you to reduce that mental clutter that you're absorbing at a constant basis. I think there's even a device that you can buy that will automatically shut your notifications off. It essentially makes your phone useless until you turn it back on. Because you have to create those intentional breaks, those breaks from the screens and avoid all that toxic news feeds and garbage that is always coming for our attention. And you need to replace that with time to focus on yourself so that you can focus on one thing at a time. Something that's important to remember is finding a balance between challenge and skill. Because flow happens when you're engaged in something that's challenging, but it still needs to be within your capabilities. And if whatever the task is too easy, you're just gonna get bored. But if that task is too challenging, then you're gonna become stressed and frustrated. And when it's just right, you'll be able to enter a state where you're just fully immersed. Search for activities that push you to grow, activities that challenge you without overwhelming you, and find that balance. And people often think that flow requires constant motivation or some kind of magical inspiration. And finding that balance that's exactly why I'm here. And that's exactly why I started walking and talking every day. And that's why I walk when I make these videos. I meditate before I start. I get my mind primed. I get ready to come out and do this. And as I'm hiking, those endorphins just begin to flow in my mind, and I'm better able to release my words. Sometimes it's too much, and I do have a bit of a stutter, but there's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, the way that I'm doing it. I'm able to challenge myself. I'm able to clear my mind, and I'm able to come out in the middle of nowhere or in public and talk to you. And flow, like I started to talk about, it's not about motivation, it's about momentum. It's starting those small things, and you just keep going and you build off of them. And the more you do something, the more natural it becomes. And eventually you will be able to find that momentum, the momentum that carries you into that state of flow. But the point is, you cannot wait for the perfect moment or timing. The perfect feeling is never going to show up. You have to start where you are and allow that rhythm and consistent action to guide you into that state of flow. I've got some practical tips for you that you can implement, that I've used and I have found that help me find my flow. And number one is prioritizing your sleep and your nutrition, because your brain, your mind, it needs the proper nutrition. It needs the proper fuel in order for you to function at your peak. Make sure that you get plenty of rest and you're eating that proper nutritious food, and you're also staying hydrated. Because like I said earlier, if your body's overweight, your mind is overweight. And a clear mind starts with a well cared for body. Number two, set clear, concise goals. Define what you want to accomplish. Because flow is often going to happen when you have a clear purpose, when you're able to find that direction and know where to head. Once you're done, once you've created those goals, break them down into clear baby steps, clear micro steps, and go after them one task at a time so that you can actually focus on them without becoming overwhelmed or trying to multitask. Number three, you need to limit your distractions. If you're able to, create a workspace that's going to minimize those distractions. Turn off your notifications, set boundaries, and dedicate time solely for the purpose at hand. Number four, you need to challenge yourself within your skill level. Choose those tasks that are going to stretch you just enough where you stay engaged. You don't become frustrated. You don't become bored. Number five, practice mindful meditation. Regular mindfulness practice, it can help calm your mind and relieve your stress. It'll improve your clarity. It'll improve your focus and that mental clarity. And all of those are extremely crucial to finding that state of flow. Number six, engage in physical activity. Because movement, especially movement that elevates your heart rate, it can boost your mood and help you achieve that mental clarity so that you can find your flow. Number seven, be consistent, because the flow is easier to achieve, and it's easier to find and develop when you're consistent with the practices that I've already outlined. The more you do it, the easier it will become. And the more you do it, the more you do them, the quicker you will be able to find yourself in that state of flow. Because finding your flow is not just for high-level athletes or high-level academics. Your flow is something that we can all experience and do. It's a natural state that every one of us can tap into. And by clearing out all that mental clutter and finding those things that are going to challenge you at the right level, the things that are an equal compromise between challenge and skill, you can rediscover that state of flow. So just let it flow and embrace that feeling of total immersion. Hello. And watch what happens when you unlock that potential that you forgot you had, or that potential that you may never even knew you had. Flow is not a destination. It's a place and a way of approaching life. And once you experience it, you will know it. And you will also know that there is no limit to what you can achieve. Just let it flow and become the best version of yourself. If you've made it this far, do me a favor and go down in the comments section and type that word flow. Just that one word, flow. Let's flow that comment section up with that positive energy and that willingness. Let's rediscover in our minds that state that we once lost as children, that feeling of being indestructible and almost weightless, where life feels effortless. I want to thank all of you guys for showing up. I hope you guys are showing up for yourselves. Thank you for all of the support that you guys have given me. It truly means the world to me. And I keep getting asked what books I read, where do I get all of my information, or where has my knowledge come from? And the answer to that is I do read, and I've read a lot of books. Most of it has come from life experiences, some of the stupid moves I've made and some of the smarter moves that I've made. But if you're interested in the books that I read, check out the Amazon store that's going to be in the description. Don't go in there and buy a bunch of shit just because I'm talking about an Amazon store. But if you're already going to be buying something off of Amazon anyway, you can also use that link to buy whatever it was through that store, and it will help the channel by giving us a small commission. A lot of the books that I put in there, I made sure to find the ones that were free or as cheap as I could possibly find. Obviously, those don't benefit me financially, and I'm not after chasing for your money. However, money does help. And those super thanks that you guys have been giving me are overwhelming, amazing me with your generosity. Understand, I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.